Welcome to the real journey of the entrepreneur. The journey of any entrepreneur begins with a decision, then writing down your vision, then the execution of that vision. It is not for the faint of heart. It is for those who understand how powerful your mind is and that you can truly create the life that you deserve. It does require a unique formula that includes belief in yourself, a lot of consistency, connecting with an OG, a lot of tears, missing out on a few events and things, and taking a whole lot of risks that will allow you to see your vision and dream come to pass. This journey of the entrepreneur is from the perspective of a wonderful mother, a business owner, whose goal is to break generational barriers and normalize the process of wealth building and financial wellness through entrepreneurship, all while creating a social and give back along the way. I am sharing this journey with you and invite you to share this process with me. Let's do this together. It's my own, but you have to feel comfortable to own it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? I will always support you.
Thank you.
Well, hello there, good people. Hello there, good people. Guess what? We are on season 3 of the journey of the entrepreneur. So I want to thank you all for your support, watching, crying, liking, getting information and education about what it really means to be an entrepreneur. We do not take this lightly. And for those who have stepped into the pathway of being an entrepreneur, we can tell you, yes, my hair was not combed in that video because that's how it is sometimes. I'm not always looking like this. It's just, But barring that, we as entrepreneurs are creating the space and the dreams and creating long-term legacies of wealth. Our goals when we step into this space, which is oftentimes scary, is that we want to create the vision and dreams and live out the dreams that we have as entrepreneurs. And entrepreneurship is absolutely not for the faint of heart. And so I can tell you this, that I have the best seat in the house, I think, especially when I have courageous entrepreneurs who have the courage and take time out of their very compact schedule to come and discuss their journey of the entrepreneur, their journey, their process. And so I want to, just first really talk about, what we do at 11375. I am in business as of November. I will be in business 7 full years. And throughout that 7 full years, I have learned so many things. I have become a partner with the state and city of New York. I have become and built relationships in order to grow and scale my business. And that is part of, as you grow and learn, it is always an opportunity to build new relationships, build new sisterhoods that you can learn from. And it's not all about competition. I have to say that because at times, sometimes we may feel that we have to, as we're learning and growing and working with one another, that it has to be a butting of the heads. And the reality is that I say, yes, it is a competition, but the truth of the matter is we all can win. And so my honor and my seat comes from peering into this wonderful organization that has a lot to offer. And when you meet the CEO, who I'm going to bring on shortly, you're going to be like, how and what type of human is running this? So without further ado, I am going to introduce a wonderful soul who I have an opportunity to work alongside as an advisor with a organization called Hudson Valley Women in Business. We met as a result of, promotion of her women's event, but we were connected as a result of me being a part of the Upstate New York Black Chamber of Commerce, which I'm also a member of. So we're going to talk about the importance of cross collaborating, being a part of different networks. But enough of this. Enough of this. Let's bring on the CEO, Miss Tamika Dunkley. Hello.
Hello, hello.
Hello. Hello. Hello. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I am, you know what? Just watching the intro to your show r- grounded me and reminded
Mm.
me so much of why I'm even doing the work that I'm doing. So thank you so much for that because many times we need that focus and that reminder.
Oh, and the pattern of the afro. I tell every time I see it, I'll be like, y'all ain't tell me that my afro. They was like, but that's the real. I'm like, whatever. Anyway, and the afro. And the afro in the pajamas and no bra on. They so disrespectful. I'm telling you, so disrespectful. But wanted to, just peer into a little bit about who you are in this process of being the CEO of a very fast growing business. Do tell. Tell us a little bit how who you are, why you got started,
Yeah.
all the
So
craziness.
So my husband and I started in 2016, Seasonlicious Foods, and we actually that's actually how he won my heart. Is he brought me a plate of curry chicken. So real talk, curry chicken, some mixed vegetables, and white rice. So my husband is Jamaican by descent, and I said I'm going to marry you, and a year later we were married. So, so we always had a knack for cooking, not professionally trained or anything like that, but always a knack for cooking. And as luck would have it, he was in an engineering program, and um, someone said to him that he needs to really start investing in this. And so we went through a lot of hard knocks as entrepreneurs, and a lot of lows. And we did not have any startup money, and we were, it was a very tenuous couple of years trying to get recognition, sales, going to different farmers markets and the schlepping of the farmers markets of the tents and the tables. And we we transitioned our business model actually in 2020 to say we were doing retail as well, a lot of stores, and we still do some retail, and we were doing a lot of retail, and we said, you know what, this is not a sustainable model for us physically and emotionally and to be whole. So let's shift and do more online sales. Let's really put our effort and our energy into that. Well, come to find out, COVID happened, and that really propelled our business in the hyperdrive because everybody started shopping online and not going into stores as much. Um, so the towards the end of 2020, we decided to open up our first storefront, and that was right in Midtown Kingston, and that was 880 square feet with no kitchen, no stove, no storage. It was definitely a challenge, but we committed to a year lease there, and in that year, we were able to grow and scale. Where we have now purchased a 10,000 square foot um, space where we not only do our own manufacturing, we have a restaurant, but we're able to provide a pathway for other entrepreneurs to really get a foothold and not have to go through some of the things that we went through, just growing and scaling. So this is a space that's completely open for collaborative work and for other entrepreneurs to also be able to get that foothold. And like you said, it's not a competition, and I say it's not. It's a competition, but a competition with yourself. That's really what it is, because there is no lack in the world. So I just love that you are also spreading the same message, Anita, because the sooner we can figure out that it's much better to amplify, uplift, and collaborate, is much sooner this world becomes a much better place. So
So I want to dig a little bit deeper because you said you had no money when you started, right? So let's talk about what that really looks like because yeah. no money, but now almost, if I counted correctly, almost 2.5 years later, from the adjustment, right? So you were in a very smaller space pre-pandemic. It sound like during the pandemic, y'all made all these crazy decisions and decide that, yeah, we're gonna buy some property. Do tell.
I'm a registered nurse by trade, and
Mm,
my husband had, I'm gonna say, the come to Jesus conversation, or the or get off the pot conversation, with me. And that happened towards the end of 2019, actually, where I was still like working. I was only working per diem, and I was kind of, the business was like here and there, and I was just trying to figure it out. And he said, "Listen, if you want this business to be successful, you are going to have to invest yourself. I'm not talking about halfway. No, you need to invest yourself, your time, your effort, your energy." And so in 2020, in January 1st, I said, okay, every year I worked from the time I've been a registered nurse since I was 19 years old. I would always work New Year's. And so I said, this is going to be the first New Year's Day I have off, like my entire adult life. And so I said, I'm not going to do it anymore. And so I didn't. I have not gone back, and I totally invested myself into the company. So the difference is, he was already in the company, and we were making, we were making money, but it just wasn't a sustainable model for one person to do it all
mhm,
by themselves.
right.
And so that's when everything, it takes a woman, and that's the thing too. Women amplify things. We really do. The man may come up with the idea, and that's okay. The man can come up with the idea, but we just make that thing explosive. We just take it to places. So I we were able to be very creative with financing. And I can't even tell you that it was any one thing, but not being discouraged when you hit potholes, speed bumps. And you could be discouraged, but you have to keep on going. I think you had said it perfectly. You have to be persistent through the pain,
Mm,
because it is painful. And sometimes you want to cry, nighttime, daytime. You want to just like throw in the towel. But it's important to have people around you that are going to encourage you when you can pick up that phone and like, I just want to cry right now because this is going on, and they can say, okay, I understand. I may not have even been through the same situation that you've been through, but I know what a challenge and an obstacle looks like, and you will overcome this if you put the elbow grease, the manpower, and the emotional fortitude through it. So yeah, we had no startup capital, none. We did not have any startup capital. We took the couple little pennies that we had saved up, and little here and there, and I said, okay, how do we creatively finance this? And in 26 days, I was able to open up a small storefront. And then in less than a year, we were able to open up something that's 10 times the size. So, and I can't say that there weren't a lot of speed bumps along the way, and like, oh crap, how is payroll going to get paid?
mm.
Because it's a food business during COVID. It was the trifecta of challenges, but we were able to really buckle down and say, all right, well, we're going to persevere through this. So we don't have to figure it out. There is no other option other than to figure it out. And we always do. And we always did.
When I think of what we do and in the space of entrepreneurship, I say it's consistent risk. It is consistent risk. I know, just thinking about my story, yeah, I was let go. I was downsized my first day back from work and after maternity leave. And I was like, who does that? Like, why? And when I tried to transition back into the workforce, because that was really all I knew was working for someone else, I kept getting rejected. No, for what I knew people, and they just didn't have anything that at that particular time. And I took it as a sign from the universe with a new baby. At the time, I was not married. And I was just like, well, I guess we gonna be out in these streets, streets cracking jokes, inappropriate jokes. But it was like, I just had this thing, well, I'm just gonna work for myself. I had no clue about what I was doing. And I did not have a whole lot of money saved. My savings and my severance was dwindling. So I was just like, we gonna try this event stuff and we gonna see what happens. And the thing that you mentioned that I want folks to really pay attention to is the fact that a lot of the stuff that we do is because we are taking uncalculated risk. We are jumping and going, let me put my foot in the fire, see if it burns sometimes. And sometimes that's how we are learning. I'm not saying all of us do, but the majority of us, we don't have real data to say that this is going to work specifically for us. So, in order for us to know, what do? We put our foot in the fire. Oh, it burned and we pull back. We come back the next time we put a boot on because we know that will at least take a little bit of time for the fire to get through. And so what we are sharing is that there is a process right now. And listen to what her husband told her. He said, listen, you're gonna have to figure this out, sis, my love. Because guess what? Something probably was pushing him in his spirit. I would imagine that, my wife should be the CEO of this. That's not my role. You want to talk a little bit about that? Because what was also very interesting, what Tamika did not mention, is that not only is she a wife, she's also a mother.
Yes, yes. So my husband is a very unique man. He is one of 16, but he has 10 sisters. And he constantly preaches women's empowerment. He is very, he amplifies even when we don't amplify ourselves or amplify each
Mm,
other. Um,
mm.
he is a very huge advocate for women, and he said, no, people need to see you being at the head of the table. It's easy for them to see me as the man, 6 foot
Mm.
five, big, it's easy for me to be seen as the man, but it's impactful and powerful and poignant for you as the woman to be at the head of the table. And I think that that's just a really beautiful testament to who he is.
Oh, I can't hear you. I lost your audio.
Oh, can you hear me?
Yep, I hear you now.
Oh, good. Okay. And in terms of that,
Being a mom, being a wife, being an
in terms
entrepreneur.
of being a mom, it's tough. Um, it's really hard to be a mom and to have that work life balance as my daughter walks in the door. She walks in the door. That was good timing, baby. Um, so as she walks in the door, um, Daddy wants to tell him I'm meeting. Um, and so trying to navigate that and balance that and be available not just in person but in spirit and mentally, because as entrepreneurs we consistently are spinning our wheels and consistently in meetings and consistently trying to do product development and consistently trying to do this and that and the next thing. It's easy to be consumed by your work, but being emotionally available, being mentally available, being spiritually available for your family as a mother is, whew, it's a tap dance. And and it's just one of those things that there is no recipe for. And it's something that you have to have conscientious um, conversations with your children and with if you have a spouse, because there has to be that level of understanding. Mommy might not always be able to make dinner, might not be always able to clean up the house, not be able to do certain things that we want to do right now. But this is an investment to your future. This is an investment into generational wealth building. This is an investment to ownership. And you know what? This is a model for you to be able to replicate and do better, because the only freedom that you really have, like you had said, you were let go, but you're free if you want to. I know you will work 24/7, 365 now, but if you wanted to take a month off, you could, and then nobody's firing you. If you wanted to take a year off, guess what? You could, and nobody, and your job is going to be there when you return, when you're ready. And that's both a blessing and a curse. And there's, ebbs and flows, but it's more of a blessing than a curse, because the last one to get fired is you, and that's only when you fire yourself. And how incredible is that of a feeling, right? So having that understanding as children, especially as children that are black and brown, that's incredible and poignant, because we don't have enough representation. We lost generations of representation in the business community, and that knowledge base. We lost so much of that. And that's what we need to bring back, because not entrepreneurship is not for everybody. It is a hard job. But when you have children my daughter's age, and she says, "Oh no, mommy, we need to take the brochures and put them on every table, because that's how they're going to know about us." And that was organic. So you're implanting skill sets that can now, if they want to go and be an employee, they're going to have that marketing skill set, which is an invaluable asset. So those key staples, and letting them be the sponge and be a part of it is so important. It's poignant. So, but it's a dance, man. I don't know what the hardest dance is, but it's a dance.
I think it's this one because I have a 7-year-old and I just have one and she's like 5 kids in one sometimes. Like today, as an example, it is normally we normally have a process, but things just flipped up a bit and she was very not happy about me disrupting her schedule, and so the makeup begins sometimes. And when there are times when I can include her in meetings, in spaces, I do, and that's not a problem. And to your point, they're watching us, right? They're watching us. They're watching how we respond to things, how we navigate. And a lot of times it's not always pleasant. It's very hard when you are deeply involved in your family and deeply involved in your business growth. Um, it's not, yeah, you can there is times when you just have to, if you believe in a higher power, then you just gonna have to lean that way and just, let him drag you sometimes, because that's sometimes how it is. And yeah, so I want to just slightly go a little bit differently. So you really started um growing um really intensely in the middle of the pandemic, right? Which I just find that to be so fascinating that we take um the most risks when the world is in turmoil. Like right now, are we in a recession or not? I don't know, but I'm still jumping in and still doing what I need to do for my business and for my family. So I'm curious about, since your business has scaled, right? You actually have a for profit, a nonprofit, and a consulting business. What is going on with you?
People say I'm crazy. I don't even know.
Nope.
So the for profit came first,
Mhm.
and like I said, we had a lot of bumps along the way, and that sparked the vision for the nonprofit, and that mission of helping entrepreneurs not go through those same things, and really what the core of it was finding somebody who understood and who give solid, sound, real, accurate advice, because people are consultants all the time, and they don't know anything. They're mentors all the time, and they don't know, and not saying that they don't know anything, but they may not understand what you're doing, right? And that we were a victim of that, where it
Mm.
cost $20,000 just starting out. We had put it, actually we had just started out, and I had gone no sales experience, and I had gone and gotten us into almost 30 stores in a month. And yeah, and it was great. It was like phenomenal. We're in these 30 stores, and um, Department of Agriculture and Markets came in to all of those 30 stores and threw our stuff in the trash. Why? because on the front of the bottle it said "Made in Saugerties, New York" instead of the back of the bottle. So our labeling, which they don't have on their website, they don't approve labels. They only review them, which I found out later. If you care to have them reviewed, and we learned a very valuable lesson. And we could have quit right there because we did not have we didn't have $20,000. It was okay. We made this. Now we have to repurpose this. Now and losing connections and then having to build back relationship that you had just gotten and potential fines. The stores are scared of the potential fine. It was really challenging, and that was listening to, um, you know, an advisor that didn't know the space. That's what that was because we were an open book and we were trying to soak in the information, but it wasn't accurate and it wasn't malicious. So that really sparked when we did the Caribbean Carnival, um, which is going to happen again August 13th. When we did the Caribbean Carnival and we saw all of these other entrepreneurs that looked like us going through the same issues with little things like filing an LLC or a DBA or EIN number or insurances and trying to navigate those footprints, we really set off on a mission to help people navigate that. Um, and that's how Season Gives was born. And we do the consultation for people. Season Gives does all free mentorship. So we do consultation for people who can invest into their business because at the time we could not. And that was a huge barrier. So we're understanding of that, but we also understand that once you get to a certain pace, it's important to invest into your business and to show that this is really important to you.
And so I like the fact, I am super excited to hear that you started the for profit arm of your business, which you learned from an unfortunate experience, but always in perfect timing, right? You started the nonprofit arm, and now you're utilizing your experience to share with others at essentially no cost, right? And I know folks are probably like, how you're able to do that, but there's always a will and a way when you have the desire to do good,
Yes. Yeah.
always.
And that's the thing is entrepreneurship is just finding the way, just finding the way. Because you have the will, sometimes you got to muster it up, but just finding the way. That's it.
And so I'm also curious about your products because you said that you do all of your manufacturing in-house. Like how? Like what? You without giving away all the trade secrets because you have spices and seasonings and hot sauces and relishes and preserves and this and that. Da. When do you have time for this?
So we focus on team building. We build our family in our business as well. So my son is paid very well to work in our store. My daughter helps; she gets paid every week. I shouldn't say that because that's child labor laws, but she helps us. She helps us. She does some vacuuming and some sweeping, and so when she wants to do the dishes, and she's able to get her little cash, and they are invested into it. And then we have a whole team of folks that come and support us and surround us and uplift us and amplify us and help us where we are not able to help ourselves. So that's really what it is. We cannot do it alone. It's effective team building.
And I'm curious as another question because I think it's very, as we started to talk about earlier about the importance of informing, bringing along, and having conversations with the people who are immediately impacted a lot by sometimes our absence, whether it's to your point, not being able to cook a full meal, house, etc. That doesn't necessarily mean that we're not loving you or loving on you. It's just about really having folks understand that this is something that's temporary. This um, process that we're going through to build our vision and dreams. So I want to follow up on a question about what is your philosophy about business collaborations?
So, how my philosophy on business collaborations is many of us are working in these silos, we're in our little bubble, in our little network, just doing this, and we could be doing the same thing and doing this in our little silo. But if we were to come together, and it doesn't have to be, oh, merging the company. It could be just doing a collaborative event. It could be just sharing something on social media. It could be just attending somebody, something, somewhere, somehow. Once you start, so sorry. Once you stop doing this,
Oh,
oh crap.
no, I hear you, but I don't see you.
Oh no. Hold on. Let me see if I can.
And so while we are getting our wonderful colleague back, and again, this is what happens when you're in the space, and I think she's back. Okay. All
Sorry
right. So
about that.
finish telling. Finish
Stop
telling me.
this.
Uh-huh.
Start doing this. Now you have this huge network because you guys both had different networks. Now you have this big network where you can start doing this, and everybody can become part of that ecosystem. So what the misnomer is that there's lack in the world. There really is no lack in the world. There's misappropriation where big business is reaping all of the benefits of being in business, and small businesses are stuck fighting and scrapping for the little scraps on the table. We need to stop that, because small business can be big business. Empowering each other can be the big business. But we're over here so busy arguing and fighting and trying to downgrade and downplay and trash talk each other. We don't have, aren't investing properly into our own stuff, because we're letting somebody else take our headspace, and that's not healthy, and that's not productive for an entrepreneur. But if you say, oh, you know what, I think it's so good that they are starting to consult and coach. You know what, let me at least call and congratulate them on their new business. You know what, even just that gesture, and feel it genuinely in your heart. Don't just do it just because it's the popular thing to do. No, I'm happy that you started that. I'm happy that you're doing this. I'm gonna come over to the table. You know how many times I purchased something for somebody that I know I'm never gonna use, but bought it for a gift for somebody else, just to empower somebody. That's how it's supposed to be, especially in the Black and brown community, because we don't do that enough. I spoke to a Jewish man, and I said, why is it, and this is part of what we educate on, is the circulation of our dollar. And the money stays in the Black community for 15 minutes to 6 hours, depending on the study that you read, versus 30 days in the Asian and the Jewish community. Almost 30 days. So why is it that that happens? And I asked him, he said, you know why? I'm willing to spend $1,000 more and drive 100 miles out the way to support my brother. I'm gonna leave it right there. Mic drop. Because because you know, because it's just, um as people of color, we need to shift our mentality and really understand that, yes, supporting a small business of color is probably going to be more expensive. You're probably going to pay more for that candle than if you went to Walmart and paid $2. But that candle is feeding the mama, it's feeding the child, it's feeding the community. Now your local gas station has money. Now your local cheerleading team, or the baseball team, or the school is able to get the PTA brownies, or whatever it is. That circle is going around, all because you spent that extra dollar on that candle. So if we all conscientiously made the shift and said, you know what, I'm not going to go, and this is nothing against big business. Big business is always going to be big business and have big business. But I'm talking about, make the conscientious shift where you can, to support people who look like you, speak like you, act like you, have kids that look like you, act like you, speak like you, and support them in a financial way so that people can be uplifted, communities can be uplifted, and invest. It's an investment, and you get something for it. That's what we need to do. And I forgot the original question, but that was my message to say about the silos and all of that stuff, because that's really what it is. And the same thing as women-owned business, same thing as small local businesses. You need to do that. You really need to. Um, and we can uplift and be a community. 98% of the world's wealth is owned by 5 families. 98%. And we're over here scrapping for 2%. But we're the ones who make the economy work. There's something wrong with that math.
I couldn't agree. I really it's so refreshing to hear. Like I've heard you speak before, but just to like hear it again is just like, this is something that we have to be really intentional about. So, like you, I always prioritize doing business with other businesses of color first, giving them, even when mistakes are made, more than one opportunity to course correct. And I'm going to explain why. Because when we go to the big box places, we make our return, we stand there, we get our refund. Do we immediately leave the store? We go, nope, I see something on that end cap that, I may want to buy. So you stay there and look at the end cap. Next thing you know, you're deep back in the store, even though you got the refund already. So that is a lesson to myself because I've done it. But even more so being in business, that we have to be more intentional about and giving honest feedback when there is a challenge or you are not happy with the product or service. Give them the opportunity because good business does come when we're able to make adjustments. And it's not because it's all bad or that we have poor customer service or whatever. It's not even that. It's just that something may not be, that they may not have all the immediate resources to manage the need at the time. But they usually, once given an opportunity, correct it and it's perfect. So we're at the end of our interview. It goes really quickly when you're having an amazing conversation. But I wanted to, before you step away back into, your real life, what are some tips that you can offer, right? So you have a for-profit, nonprofit, and you're a business consultant. Like, what is if someone wants to step their toe into the fire without a boot? Three
Um,
tips. Three tips you can offer. Three
so I
tips.
think the biggest thing for people who are just starting out as entrepreneurs or in it already, and the thing that I've struggled the most with is finding that balance. Balancing work life, home life, and self care somewhere in between. Because burnout is real, and trying to make sure that you level that and shift and pivot in a way where you can take your time, have your spa day, sip your tea in the morning, look at whatever you need to do your yoga, do your exercises to have that mental health component, that physical health component is really important because it can consume you. It really can as you're trying to scale and grow and make it and all of that. So that's one of my big tips. The other thing is don't give up. If you believe that it's going to be, you may have to shift, but you don't give up. And that's like that is what entrepreneurship is. You need more wins than losses. Period. That's what it is. You need more W's than losses. And if you have a hard time, if you are really struggling with whatever it is, call somebody. Do not be afraid. Do not be too proud to pick up the phone. Communication is so key because you never know who that person may know and that can help you. So there's a lot of them, but I'll leave it there.
All right. So I am going to share the tips that you mentioned because I think it's important, to find balance, to find what that looks like specifically for you. Do not give up, connect with others. So I'm not going to let you go just yet. I have some rapid fire one word questions that I normally like to ask because I just think it's fun, lightens the mood, and gets us on to our good old path back to the real world. So, what do you do in your spare time?
I like to go to the beach and read.
What do you do in your downtime?
Sleep.
That's a good one. Pizzas or burgers? Do you appreciate pizzas or burgers?
Burgers.
Smoothies or ice cream?
Ooh, my soul says ice cream, but my head says smoothie. I don't know. That's too. That was a hard one.
Sneakers or shoes?
Shoes.
In 3 years, what will change within the community that you are serving?
Oh, I know that we are going to have a whole lot of powerhouse entrepreneurs doing their thing and having thriving, successful businesses.
And the legacy that you would like to leave for your family?
Hmm. Independence and following your passion and your dream. Do what makes you happy. Period. Do what makes you happy.
Mm. All right. Well, that's a wrap, my love. So, where can we find you?
So you can find us at the Seasoned Evolution Center that's located at 11 Lomire Lane, Lake Katrine. And you can also find us online at seasondeliciousfoods.com for our for profit, and for our nonprofit, seasonedgives.org.
And so, don't be a stranger. I know that we are going to see one another once again in some form, some way, around the valley, in the city, somewhere. But I really want to thank you for, supporting, jumping on, hanging out for a little bit, showing us love in the midst of all the crazy. So,
All love. I really appreciate you coming and interviewing me and providing such a great dynamic space. The whole vibe and flavor is beautiful. So I appreciate you.
well, thank you, thank you. We trying to make it work over here. That's what we trying to do. Sharing information is and sharing real stories is what the real journey of the entrepreneur is really all about. And having those who are courageous enough to share their honest truth, because entrepreneurship is dope. It's amazing, but sometimes it could be hard as cuss word, cuss word, cuss word. But it's worth it, and I am really glad and thankful to know you and look forward to working with you on other avenues. So, on that note, and so there you have it, guys. I have again, the best seat in the house, right? Where I have entrepreneurs who are willing to come on and share their portion of their journey, because it's ever evolving, it's ever going forward. And so they have the courage to continue to do what they need to do, which is to create the freedom of time for themselves and for their family. So I want to thank Tamika Dunkley for jumping on within this space. And we're in season 3. We are in season 3. So I am really, really happy that you have chosen to support the real journey of the entrepreneur. We have a lot more excitement that's going to be happening. We are going to be having number of different conversations again with entrepreneurs who have the courage to do so. And if you are interested in being a part of the conversation, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We are on all the social platforms. Please like, share, follow us on all of the wonderful platforms that keep us busy and occupied. But you can check us out at 11375.com. We do still answer telephones at 718-691-8966, or to be on the show, you can send us a direct message on all the social platforms, or you can send us an email as well. I wanted to also put out a couple of other reminders, because part of what we believe is really important is sharing information and also resources that exist. As Tamika and I mentioned, we do belong to a number of affiliations that are in business. One specific, the Upstate New York Black Chamber of Commerce, and also Hudson Valley Women in Business. So if you are in the space of entrepreneurship, there are a number of chambers of commerce that exist for support of small businesses. They are there to create spaces for small businesses. And there are a number of them across the tri-state, in-state, out-of-state, and also national as well. And also, I wanted to just mention as well that a lot of times, as Tamika mentioned, she offers through Season Gives, her nonprofit, opportunities for, being consulted through her nonprofit in the space of entrepreneurship. I'm also available where you can book me for free through SCORE. I do have a bit of a wait. I'm not accepting new clients at this point, but more towards the fall, I will do so because I am happily supporting entrepreneurs right now who are actively growing and scaling their business. But you can book me through SCORE, and that is the opportunity that you can utilize. There is a grant that I wanted to mention that is still active. The Empire State Development COVID-19 Pandemic Small Business Recovery Grant. Please check out the New York Small Business Recovery.com to assess all of the qualifications that are needed to apply for a grant. As we talked about earlier, sometimes in the beginning, there isn't access to capital, and sometimes you have to utilize other resources. And one resource is applying for grants if you qualify for it. And so I wanted to mention that those things exist, and that you can take advantage. You just have to do a search and also make sure that your business structure is in order for you to qualify for those specific grants. So on that note, I want to thank you again for joining us this evening. Again, please like, share, and follow us at 11375. If you are in need of our services, you can also, we respond to direct messages and also through phone calls, the traditional way, and also emails as well. We look forward to having you, share, support, and if you have the courage to do so as an entrepreneur, please do not hesitate to reach out to us if you are interested in being featured on the show. So on that note, I look forward to seeing you next episode. Take good care. Welcome to 11375. My name is Anita Pierce, and I am the owner of a New York-based MWBE certified business consultancy. We focus on business education for startups, and we also connect mid-sized companies, corporations, community-based organizations, and government agencies to foster affordable solutions that will allow your business to flourish. We elevate the awareness of our communities with regards to financial, mental, and also economic wellness. Some of our services include project management, training and facilitation, stakeholder engagement, and also advocacy within the business community. If you're interested in some of our services or all of them, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. We're on all of the social platforms at 11375, or you can check us out at our website at 11375.com. We look forward to supporting you in your business goals.